Let me guess. You've been told that your clay soil is the enemy, right? The one thing standing between you and that amazing garden you've been dreaming of? But what if I told you that's completely wrong? What if the problem isn't the clay at all, but the way we've been fighting it? Today, we're going to flip that script and turn that tough, sticky soil into your garden's absolute greatest asset.
Okay, let's just dive right in. Because if you've ever tried to shove a shovel into clay soil, you know the struggle is real. But before we can fix it, we have to really understand what we're actually dealing with.
So let's just ask the big question right up front. Is the clay itself the villain in your garden story? Or is it maybe a misunderstood hero that just needs a completely different approach?
And look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. These complaints, they're 100% valid. When it's wet, it's like working with glue. When it's dry, you could literally build a house with it. These are very real issues, but they come from clay soil that's been degraded and mismanaged.
But this is where the entire story flips on its head. It turns out that the very things that make clay so frustrating are actually linked to some pretty incredible hidden superpowers. It all comes down to the science of what clay actually is at a microscopic level.
So it all boils down to this nerdy-sounding concept called Cation Exchange Capacity, or CEC. Just think of it like this. Tiny clay particles have a negative charge. That means they act like millions of tiny magnets, grabbing and holding on to positively charged plant nutrients like calcium and potassium. Your clay soil is literally a nutrient bank.
And when you put it side by side with sandy soil, wow, the difference is just night and day. Sandy soil is like a sieve. Water and all those precious nutrients just run right through it. But clay, it holds on to nutrients and it holds on to water like a sponge. That one trait can be the difference between your plants thriving in a drought or just giving up completely.
So when you add it all up, what you've actually got is an incredibly powerful foundation. It's packed with food for your plants, it's water-wise, it's stable, and it's a fantastic home for all the beneficial microbes that create a healthy, living soil.
So you're probably thinking, if clay is so great, why is mine so impossible? Well, it's often because we're following some really common advice that's, well, it's just plain wrong. We're actually following a recipe that turns our gardens into something a lot closer to concrete.
Okay, this is probably the #1 piece of bad advice out there. You've heard it, I've heard it, it sounds like it makes sense, right? But please, whatever you do, do not do this. The science on why this is a disaster is crystal clear. It's true. This is exactly how you make bricks or primitive concrete. The tiny sand particles just fill in all the little gaps between the even tinier clay particles, locking everything up into a dense, impenetrable mass. Your drainage actually gets worse, not better.
And here's the other big one. Oh, it's so tempting, isn't it? Just fire up that tiller and pulverize those hard clods of clay. It feels so productive in the moment, but what you're really doing is trading a temporary fix for a much, much bigger problem down the road.
Every single time you till, you're pulverizing the soil's natural structure and creating this, a hard pan. It's an impermeable layer that forms just below where the tiller blades can reach. You're basically creating an underground bathtub in your garden where water can't drain and plant roots can't break through.
All right, so we've busted the myths. We know what not to do. Now, let's get to the good stuff. Instead of fighting your clay, here is the simple, science-backed playbook for working with its incredible natural strengths. It really just comes down to these 4 powerful strategies. Now, these aren't quick hacks. They are the fundamental principles for truly regenerating your soil's health and bringing it back to life from the ground up.
The single most important thing you can possibly do is add organic matter, especially good compost. Just layer on 2 to 4 inches right on top of the soil. Don't even till it in. This feeds the microscopic life in the soil, and they, in turn, create the glues that bind clay particles together into a beautiful, crumbly structure full of air and water channels. Next up, and this one is so important, know when to just stay out of the garden. Here's a super simple test. Grab a handful of soil and squeeze it. If it crumbles apart, you're good to go. But if it stays in a tight ball or you can smear it into a ribbon, it is too wet. Walking on it now will cause serious compaction that can take years to fix.
Now, this is such an elegant solution. Instead of firing up a machine, let the plants do the hard work for you. Cover crops like daikon radishes or even sunflowers send down massive, powerful taproots that bust through compacted soil. Then, when the plant dies, those roots decompose in place, leaving behind perfect, open channels for air, water, and the roots of your next crop. It's genius.
You see, following this playbook isn't about getting a quick fix for one season. It's about a long-term transformation. It's about taking what seems like a huge problem and slowly, patiently, turning it into pure garden gold.
And here's what that journey actually looks like. You're going to see small wins every single year. And the first year, you'll notice it drains a little better after a big rain. The next year, you'll see them, the earthworms, nature's best soil builders, start to show up. This is how you build real, resilient soil. It's a gradual process, but it is so incredibly rewarding.
And this right here is the ultimate payoff. Once you've used these techniques to build great structure into your clay soil, you've created a powerhouse. You have a nutrient-dense, water-retentive, resilient growing medium that will honestly outperform almost any other type of soil out there. So in the end, that clay soil was never the enemy you thought it was. It's an opportunity. It's a foundation just waiting for you to unlock its potential. The only question left is, what incredible gold is hiding right there, under your feet?